you snore in my class? Wake up, Mr. West. Wake up, Mr.
Alright, today we're talking about something that literally every student on the planet has suffered through. The worst classes in high school. Some classes are tolerable, some are even kinda useful, but then there are the ones that are so painfully awful that you start contemplating dropping out and becoming a full-time Walmart cashier. These are the classes that feel like a government experiment in psychological warfare. The ones that take your soul, your happiness, and your will to live and leave you with nothing but a failing grade and a headache. And today we're breaking them down one by one. 1. Math, the class that actively tries to ruin your life. If there's one subject that has caused the most mental breakdowns, GPA deaths, and pure suffering, it's math. First off, why does math act like it's preparing us for a career in NASA? I don't need to know how to find the square root of a fucking letter. I just need to know how to not be broke. And yet somehow math teachers think it's totally normal to assign 57 questions for homework. You should have learned this last year. Okay, well, I didn't. If I learned it last year, why am I failing it now? You just have to apply the formula. Yeah, I don't know the formula. That's why I'm here struggling for my life. And let's talk about these word problems. Like, they were designed by actual villains. If a train leaves Chicago going 75 miles per hour and is actively about to run over 10 children... Hold on. First of all, not only do I not take trains, second of all, this is pretty gruesome, you know? I swear there was one problem that I had back in middle school, and this isn't high school, so maybe it got better, and maybe they had someone look at this, but it almost sounded like 9/11. If a plane flying toward New York was recently seized by terrorists and the captain is no longer in control of the plane, how long do we have? And it's like, hold on, this doesn't sound appropriate. I remember there was one word problem, and I don't want to get too sidetracked, that was straight up racist. I didn't have this one, but you can look it up. Then there's geometry, which is supposed to trick you into thinking that math actually applies to your life by showing you all these shapes that appear in your everyday existence, but it's math disguised as art. Why do I need to know the exact angles of a triangle? You think 10 years from now I'm gonna be at a job interview and they're gonna be like, quick, find the hypotenuse? No, I'm never gonna use this. And then algebra is just solving problems with more problems. Solve for x. No, you solve for x. I'm done. We're done here. Look, math does have real world applications, but the question out of all the questions asked in math that was never answered was, can't I just use a calculator? They're like, well, anyway, like, they never answer you. And especially with AI now, all the math related stuff that I do is just done with a calculator. I never need to memorize anything. I never need to. And look, this is not meant to dissuade people from taking school seriously. Obviously study and get good grades. Like, all this stuff does matter. Like, you kind of have to just play the game even if it's kind of pointless. But yeah, bro, math sucks. It's painful for everybody. Moving on, we have history, which is a Wikipedia article that lasts 10 months. I don't care what anyone says. History is literally just memorization on steroids. The whole class is how much can you retain from the lecture. There's nothing that you actually have to use more parts of your brain than memorization for. You walk into class and you're immediately handed a 12-page worksheet on the Treaty of 1793 or some random war that happened before electricity was invented. And history teachers always act like their class is the most important thing in the world. If you don't learn history, you're doomed to repeat it. No, I'm doomed because everybody in the world is struggling with the rising price of a life that they already can't afford. We can learn about the past once we get the fucking present sorted out. You feel me on that one? And somehow every test is 50% dates. Like, when was the Treaty of Versailles signed? I don't know, like the 1900s, somewhere in between dinosaurs and the iPhone, maybe? It's all memorization. And then we'd have these like history debates. You ever been in one of those where the teacher makes you argue about some random dude from 300 years ago? Was Thomas Jefferson a hero or a villain? Yeah, I don't really know him, to be honest. And of course, there's always the one kid who suddenly thinks they're a lawyer. Actually, the 1789 political landscape was, bro, shut up. The only good thing these people add to your class is they kind of sink time away from the boring lesson that was planned. You ever seen two history debate kids go at it and one of them actually gets pissed? Listen, I understand there's serious debates to be had about history and stuff, but I don't know if those debates need to be like that intense if you're in 8th grade. Next, we got science, which is just more math, but worse. Science could be fun, but somehow school finds a way to make it feel like a punishment. Chemistry is just math with explosions. Like, why am I balancing equations like I'm cooking crystal meth in a basement? Biology is also just memorization, but is probably the best class out of everything we've gone over so far because it's actually important to understand human biology. Even if you're not going to become a doctor, you should know what the heart does, like the different parts of your body, and understanding what they do seems kind of important. I don't know. Remember when everyone had to dissect a frog? Like, who thought it was a good idea to hand teenagers a scalpel and a dead frog at 8 in the morning? Teachers like carefully remove the intestines. I don't want to even remove myself from bed in the morning, and you think I want to gut an amphibian before before breakfast. Physics is just more math with gravity and nobody knows what's going on. If a ball was thrown at 50 miles per hour, okay, why are we throwing things? Next, we got English, the art of writing 20 pages about nothing. English class is just reading books from 50 years ago and then writing a 5,000 word essay on what it all means. I hate English class because of the way that people pretend to care about the books, and it's so obvious how soulless they sound when pretending that not only they care about it, but that they read any of the pages. Like, the teacher will ask, what do the blue curtains symbolize? And the person's like, well, you know, blue could mean a lot of things. The ocean, sadness, and they waffle for like 20 minutes. It's kind of a rant, kind of a performance, and it's all just supposed to tell the teacher, like, hey, please don't fail me. It's just a pleading cry to just not give me an F. English class, though, worst part, group projects. Always one kid that did nothing but still gets full credit. It's probably not as bad now, though, because everyone's got AI. So if you just ask it to summarize the pages, it'll just give you a summary. Dude, teachers are probably struggling. They're like, how do we make sure the kids actually read this? And they're not using AI to tell them what the chapter that we assigned means. I can't think of a better subject to have been demolished by AI. Then there's like the foreign language class you take for 4 years and you still can't speak it. 4 years of Spanish, and most kids can only say hola and donde está el baño. The teacher will say like one sentence in French and expect you to magically be fluent. Write a 3-page essay in German. Okay, I don't know the alphabet though. Can we start there? And the worst part is that they make you take a language class to graduate. So if you've been speaking English for 17 years and you know you barely know how to use a semicolon, it's probably not looking great for you to learn an entire new language. Did you guys ever have to do those videos or oral assignments where everybody would talk super slowly to get to the mandatory length of the video or mandatory length of the oral exam? You would know like 10 words and somehow slow it down enough and look like you were thinking to make it sound like you were either like pausing for emphasis or actually knew what you were saying, like hola, me llamo, and then you just like do the intro for half of it. These classes were pretty painful, but I do understand the application of learning a second language. Like this one makes a lot of sense in terms of practicality. And so does the next one, but it was still pretty painful. Gym, the government-approved torture program. Gym really, I mean, it's useful, but the way it's done doesn't really make sense. Like, why are we grading people on running? Why are push-ups a requirement? And why is the pacer test even legal? Like, obviously, I'm all for people getting healthy and maintaining a good physical state, but the way that they like grade it and the rubrics don't really make sense. Nothing's worse than the try-hard athlete who takes gym class like the NBA draft too. Like, dodgeball is serious business. Like, no, you're not getting a scholarship for this. We're in high school. The grading system's also like completely made up. You didn't participate enough. I was here. That should be 100%. If your high school allows you to choose what classes you can take, choose ones that you actually care about, and the ones that you gotta do, well, just thug it out. Good luck. Anyway, with that being said, that is the types of classes in high school that I personally hate. But yeah, if you enjoyed, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike, and I'll see you guys all next time. Peace.